What's up, vinyl community? It's your boy Chris, coming at you live, as always, from the man cave. Cold beer in hand, stack of records in my hand, ready to talk to you guys, as always, about one of my greatest passions of my life, vinyl records. This video is a contest entry for Happy Hippy. This 100 subs contest giveaway. His name's Rod. He's a really cool guy. Seems like exactly the kind of guy I would have wanted to go to a show with or have a beer with back in the day, to be completely honest with you. So, Happy Hippy, the vinyl guy. Cheers to you, man, on your 100 subscribers. Congratulations. I've been checking out some of your videos, really like what I see. And I was really intrigued by your idea for this giveaway. And the idea of this giveaway basically centers all around concerts. Shows that you've seen, whether it be the best show you've seen, or the worst show you've seen, or the most disappointed you've seen, or stepping out of a comfort zone for a show, yada, yada, yada. I'm getting ready to get on all of them, to touch on all of them, I should say. But that's the gist of the giveaway. And so diving right in, I know Rod's probably got a lot of videos to watch, a lot of entries to watch, so I don't want to keep him waiting too long. So number one, first question, 7 questions total. First question, best show you've seen. And Rod, you and I agree, buddy. Paul McCartney. I'm going to make sure I show records where I have them because, again, this is a vinyl channel and I don't like to disappoint my viewers. This is my half-speed mastered copy of one of my favorite albums of all time, Band on the Run. I love it. Listening to it, if you've heard it this way, I can't think of a way I've heard it better. Highly recommend you guys get your hands on it. And it was a few years ago in Columbia, South Carolina. Just a few weeks removed from the unfortunate Charleston, South Carolina church shooting. Dylan Roof, for those of you who followed the news, I'm pretty sure that it made it nationwide. The very, 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 very tragic incident that took place in the town of my birth. So it really hit home here. It really disappointed and really upset our entire state. But Paul McCartney that night, of course, for those of you who are aware, Paul McCartney wrote the song Blackbird about the civil rights movement in the 60s. And that night, he dedicated the song to our state as we healed and to the victims of the shooting. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house, guys. Everybody in there was bawling. I was bawling. Here's my hero personally reaching out to our state during a time of need and tragedy to really extend and show us that he cared and that he was thinking about us. And it was such a great song. I know he wrote it about civil rights, you guys, but if you think about it, it can be used to just touch a heart in so many different ways, no matter the circumstances and in any time of need or tragedy, and very relevant and always will be. It was relevant then, it's relevant now, and it's a great song, and Paul McCartney will forever. I can't imagine, the only way I imagine that concert being top for me is if I go see him again. My wife surprised me by buying me these tickets. They were not cheap. I don't even want to discuss how much they were, but she surprised me. She saved up a shitload of money and bought them. And she told me this is a one-time deal, is what she said. Because she knew how much it meant to me to go see Paul McCartney in my lifetime. And then after the show, I looked at her and I said, honey, I lied. She said, what do you mean? I said, there's no way in hell this is the last time I'm going back. And all she basically said to me was, you're welcome for your first show. You're paying for the shit next time. I love you, sweetheart. All right, number 2. Most disappointing. Okay. It's Dave Matthews Band for me in Charlotte, North Carolina a few years ago. But not because I didn't enjoy the show. I personally can't think of a show I've ever been to that I didn't enjoy in some way, shape, or form. It's the most disappointing show for me because my wife and I don't get out much. We don't have the money or the time, especially not these days. We're parents of a toddler. We don't have very many opportunities to get out and go see a show anymore. And we were both so excited to get out. I was really excited to get out. She was really excited to go see a show, and then she hated it. She hated it. And I could tell she didn't like it. And I asked her, I said, "Are you not enjoying yourself? Are you not having fun?" She goes, "It sounds like they've played the same song over and over and over again nonstop. It's just like they've played the same song for 2 hours." And I said, "Well, honey," I said, "that's kind of what Dave Matthews Band does. They're a jam band. You know, the likes of, Grateful Dead, Fish, some of these, Almonds, some, the jam bands. That's what they do. They take a 3-minute radio song and jam out to it for 18 minutes. That's what they do. It's one of those things that you either like or you don't. I personally enjoyed myself thoroughly. I enjoyed everything but the damn beer prices. But my wife didn't. And because of that, it's my most disappointing show. Not because I didn't have fun, but because she didn't have fun. And it would have been nice to get out for the day, to see a show, and to have both of us have a blast. And she just didn't. And I know she only stuck out the whole show because I was there and she could tell I was having a good time. Had she gone by herself, she'd have been gone. All right. Furthest I've traveled for a show is not very far. It's only a couple of hours down the interstate to my birth town. It's Hootie and the Blowfish. Guys, I was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I am a Charleston, South Carolina native. I've lived in this state my entire life. Hootie and the Blowfish are our boys here. When Hootie gets back together for a show, I mean, Darius has had a pretty promising solo career. I mean, I think, way better than anybody would have ever thought. But every so often, like once or twice a year, they'll get back together for a show. And in the state of South Carolina, that bastard sells out in about 10 minutes. It does. It always does, no matter where they have it, whether it be Greenville or Columbia or Charlotte or Charleston, wherever in the state of South Carolina. And I always refer to Darius as my Charleston, South Carolina homeboy, and all the boys of Hootie and the Blowfish as my South Carolina homeboys. But plenty of people nationwide and whatnot might want to dog on Hootie and the Blowfish, but I think this album sold like 15 million. Yeah. Chances are, even if you shit on Hootie now, you probably own this at one point in time in your life. But here, they can do no wrong. In this state, they are gods. So, about 2 hours down the interstate, phenomenal show. Absolutely phenomenal. I could not have been more pleased. I loved it. Darius did some Prince songs. Purple Rain brought the house down. I mean, it was just a great show all the way around. I really and thoroughly enjoyed it. Okay. Next up, I don't have a record to show for this one, unfortunately. I used to. No longer have it in my collection. Not ordinarily in my realm. Bare Naked Ladies. As a way, and I have no problem with Bare Naked Ladies, but it's still not normally in my realm. I'm a jazz guy. I dig jazz and classic rock and, outlaw country. I mean, that's pretty much my lane. Pretty solid Lux for me. But, to make it up to my wife, the bad time that she had at the D&B show, I bought her tickets to go see Bare Naked Ladies. My wife loves Bare Naked Ladies. Loves them. My wife's lane for music is very much 90s alternative and grunge. The early 2000s stuff. She's not beyond Fall Out Boy and whatnot. And that's fine. I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. But I can deal with Bare Naked Ladies. They're fun, jovial on stage, put on a good show. They wrote some catchy tunes. And she had a blast that night, and that really just did it for me. Especially since the tickets for the show were like a third what the D&B show was. So, small venue, great seats, wife had a great time. Beer wasn't quite as expensive as it was at that damn D&B show. So, I was very happy that night. I enjoyed the show myself, but I think I really enjoyed it because I felt like I made it up to her that she had a bad time at the Dave Matthews Band show. So that, really did it for me. First concert for me. The King, George Strait. Very first concert I ever saw. I can't remember how old I was. Not positive. I was probably, 13, 14 maybe, I think. But I went with my little brother and my parents. And we had a blast. And one thing that I thought was really cool, and it's something that this is the first concert I ever saw. George Strait's got that rotating stage. So no matter where you sit, you're going to get to look him in the face for probably at least a third of the show. He's no nonsense. He comes out, he plays songs the whole time. He might stop for a minute to tell a quick, like, story or joke every now and then, but not really. He's banging them out. Because when you got 60 #1 singles, and you want to play as many of those as you can for the people that are in attendance, because Lord knows, no matter what you do, somebody's going to leave disappointed. Like, man, I wish you would have played this, or, I wish you'd have played Amarillo by Morning, or yada. Somebody will leave disappointed. The man can't stay up there and play 100 songs. And but that's a gift and a curse, I would say. The gift is you've had so much success that you've got that many hits, and the curse is that you're guaranteed to disappoint somebody. You're not going to play somebody's favorite song. But I had a blast, and like every 2 or 3 songs, the stage will rotate, and you'll be looking right at the man himself. He'll play 2 or 3, more songs, and it'll rotate the other direction. And those people up there who maybe thought they weren't going to get a chance to look at him are now looking him dead in the eyes. And 2 or 3 songs later, it'll rotate this way, and it just keeps going like that every 2 or 3 songs for the entire show. So no matter where you sit, you get to put eyes on the king for at least a little while. So by that estimation, there's not a bad seat in the house. And I think that was the goal for that. But it's a great thing. So that was my first concert, so I think I just naturally assumed that they all did it that way. They don't. Out of every concert I've seen, and I've seen 50 or 60, out of every show I've ever seen, he's the only artist I've seen that's done that. So, that's been one disappointing thing. After the next 2 or 3 shows I saw after George, it's like, okay, now, damn it, I got to make sure I get good seats, because, if I get obstructed view seats, I'm not going to get a chance to look at these guys. But great concert. The last concert I went to, again, the same Paul McCartney show, Paul McCartney concert that was my favorite of all time. That's the last one I saw. I wish that wasn't the case. But again, I'm the father of a 2-year-old, and diapers aren't cheap, and not formula. She's never had formula. Wipes aren't cheap. Daycare's not cheap. None of this stuff is cheap, and then not to mention time's precious. So, hadn't gotten around to it. But I look forward to the day when my daughter's a little older, when we can take her to shows together, and that'll be great. So, as long as she doesn't like the shit that's on the radio now and force me to take her to see that, which of course, being a dad, I will. But you get it. But that's the last concert I saw. I hope to fix that soon. Every year, I feel like 3 or 4 come around that I'd like to go see, and we just can't make it happen. But anyway, artist I've seen the most is a 2-way tie between the King George Strait and the surviving members of Lynyrd Skynyrd, plus, of course, the new guys. I've seen them 3 times each. George for the first time when I was like 12 or 13, and then for the last time on his farewell tour. And Lynyrd Skynyrd 3 times. For the first time probably 19 or 20, and for the last time, probably 6 or 7 years ago. But yeah. Went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to see him one time. Went to Greenville, South Carolina to see him one time. I just want to make a quick point. I went to Greenville, South Carolina to see him. And coming up, it's hard to live in the part of the country that I live in without being acquainted with Hank Williams Jr. It just is. These were passed down to me from my father. Whiskey Benton, Hellbound, and Rowdy. I'll tell you what, guys. I don't know what I expected that night, but I knew Hank Williams Jr. from the songs that I had grown up listening to, as well as Monday Night Football, obviously. And, but I was like, hey, he's got some good songs and everything. We went to that show that night in Greenville, my uncle and I, and it was Hank Williams Jr. and Lynyrd Skynyrd. And Hank Jr. actually opened for Lynyrd Skynyrd, which was a mistake on the parts of Lynyrd Skynyrd because Hank Williams Jr. stole that show. I had no idea that man was as talented as he is. He played everything. He played the piano. He played every guitar there was on that stage. He played the fiddle. He played everything, and he played the shit out of all of them. And he just left us jaws dropping. You know, Leonard Skinner came out and did the same show that we'd already seen twice, which was fine. We still loved it. But I had no idea. I only wish I didn't disagree with the man's politics so much. Because now I find it hard to listen to him speak. Or, you know, don't listen to very much Hank Williams Jr. anymore, I must admit. I mean, politics aside, it just, you know, some of the things. But anyway, I don't want to get political on this channel. I just wish I didn't so vehemently disagree with him on some very important things to me. But it's okay. I keep the albums, obviously. It's not so bad that I'm chunking albums out of my house. He put on a great show, and I'll say that out of every performance I've seen live, out of every just performance that I've seen live, he's second only to McCartney for me. He tore the house down. I've seen some great people. I've seen, you know, I've seen Paul McCartney and Leonard Skinner and Hank Williams Jr., George Strait, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I've seen some great acts. I've seen some great performances, but McCartney's my number one, easily, landslide. I wish I had the money to follow the man around the country. I would. I wish I had the money to follow the man around the world. I would. But so that wraps up for my contest. Congratulations and cheers to you, Rod, Happy Hippy, the vinyl guy, on your 100 subs. This was a great idea for a giveaway. I love the idea for the giveaway. I hope to stay in touch with you, my friend. I hope you, well, you know, if you don't subscribe to me, I hope you'll click in on one of my videos every now and then. I hope, you know, we can be, you know, be acquainted. You seem like a cool guy. Again, you seem like the kind of guy that I'd really love to have been to a concert with and had a beer with one day. I'm jealous of your murderer's row of concerts. I mean, geez, this guy's seen McCartney and The Who and the Rolling Stones and Grateful Dead, and I can't compete with that. I can't compete with that, buddy. I'd like to see the Stones before Mick finally throws his hip out. That'd be great. That man's probably in better shape than me, and I'm half his age. Anyway, so once again, congratulations. Until the next time, until the next video, keep dropping that needle, you guys.